It's hard to say goodbye, but sometimes you just have to do it. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. And today we're going to be taking a look at Luis Suarez and a potential move away from Barcelona, linking him to Ajax. It came out by El Chiringuito in Spain and also Rack 1 that Barcelona is potentially looking for a new destination for Luis Suarez because he doesn't fit into the plans that Ronald Koeman have for next season. Interested in him is his second European club that he went in his career, that being Ajax, and also we have Juventus potentially trying to seek a way of luring the Uruguayan to Torino. Fabrizio Romano through Twitter also decided to continue talking about this news and elaborating on it, mentioning that Ronald Koeman held an interview with NOS or NOS, a very big chain of sporting communication in the Netherlands, where he had a quite good interesting quotes, but the one that for me, of course, especially kind of just jumped out was that when he was asked about Luis Suarez, he didn't look perhaps 100% certain with his answer. He was kind of leaving it unknown, and this could potentially help us to understand whether actually he's in his plans or not. However, the Uruguayan-based newspaper Ovación was saying that a lot of the kind of closest friends or kind of entourage of Luis Suarez was suggesting that he had absolutely no intention of leaving the Camp Nou. So we have to see how this matter is going to continue, because at this stage it is unclear whether Suarez is going to continue. What is certain is that Barcelona doesn't want him there. Now I would like to take this into a more analysis type of video, where we take a look at the advantages and disadvantages and what I would do with Luis Suarez. So let's start right away with what would I believe would be the benefits for Barcelona if they were to sell Luis Suarez. Of course, the very first thing would be that the youngsters of the squad, especially in those forward lines, would be getting a lot more opportunities, a lot more game time. I'm talking about the people who are already here in the squad, that being like Ansu Fati or Ousmane Dembélé, or even the new signings like Francisco Trincao and Pedri. He could also play in the left wing position if we really want him to. It's up to the manager to decide, but you know basically what I mean. By seeing these players more and more, we would actually get them developing, and that's perfectly good for our team, because at this stage we've had kind of like around 4 or 5 years where the same names have been playing and we haven't been seeing kind of new guys coming in and progressing and becoming better. I haven't seen that. Since Dembélé got here, he's basically probably at the same level. We see someone like Ansu Fati and he of course is showing what he has, but he hasn't been able to really contribute as much as we wanted because someone like Luis Suarez was taking up that spot. Even though he's a center forward and we don't have that many of them in our team, it would allow us to actually kind of perhaps shift Lionel Messi to a false 9 position, but we just have to see how that develops. In addition to this, we will find the youngsters helping Barcelona to have more pressure from the forward positions. This is very good for a team like Barcelona who wants to ensure the recovery of the ball as further up the pitch as they can. Let's take a look at a team like Atalanta. I don't know if you watched the game between Atalanta and PSG, but what Atalanta has is a very good kind of pressing from the front, allowing them to keep the enemy team at bay. That is something that Barcelona used to do in the past when we had Messi, David Villa and Pedro, because Pedro and Villa specifically will try to pressure the opposing center backs, leaving either a mistake so that Messi can pick it up and then can easily shoot on a goal, or just simply try to kind of cement them and fatigue the opposing team, so when they have the ball they don't have the energy to kind of come in forward and have a very good crucial counter-attack. Let's take a look for instance also at Bayern Munich, who managed to do that. Someone like Lewandowski perhaps is not the most pressure-based of strikers, but someone like Thomas Müller in behind and the wingers in someone like Ivan Perisic and Sergio Gnabry are certainly going to cover up the space as much as they can. So that is something that Barcelona would benefit by not having Luis Suarez, because Suarez doesn't do that job anymore. When he came to Barcelona, he was incredible at doing so, and I was extremely surprised how efficient he was at that role, especially because in Liverpool he used to play with so much acres of space in front of him. So coming to Barcelona and seeing, you know, having tight spaces and having Suarez adapting to that very quickly was incredible. And do not get me wrong, the purpose of this video is not to kind of detriment Suarez, but he's just amazing, but his time has come to go, because if we want to regain that pressure, we just need somebody else who can give us a sort of energy, because Luis Suarez right now, at 40 minutes into the game, he's already holding up his head low and kind of thinking, what am I gonna drink in halftime? Another advantage of letting go of Luis Suarez that Barcelona could find is that they finally could have the time to slot Griezmann into his natural position. We talked about how the youngsters could already get into the squad, but someone like Griezmann actually this season hasn't been integrated properly. So finally, by having Luis Suarez letting go of that position and making way for someone like Antoine, we could have found in the Frenchman basically a new signing, someone who could be much more revolutionary and perhaps reaching a level that we haven't seen of him yet. Ronald Koeman recently in an interview decided to add to this and talked about how he saw Antoine Griezmann playing in the central position, and the very first thing that a manager needs to do is know where to play his players. And well, Antoine Griezmann is a center forward. He's a striker, a secondary striker, he has many functions. But the thing is that most of them are centrally, and playing wide is simply not suited to his style. So finally, by letting go of Suarez, Griezmann could fit in there. Apart from talking about the sporting side of things, we also have to mention the financial benefits that we could find in letting go of Luis Suarez. For instance, if Suarez leaves the club, even though he doesn't have a huge market value, it still kind of is a very huge inflow of money. If Barcelona manages to sell him, which I would think would be around 20 million euros or even a little bit less, around 15 million euros is what's being reported, we could still add to that kind of like 30 million on top of that because of his huge wages. This means that in the long run, Barcelona are saving a lot more money. And simply by selling someone like Luis Suarez, you could find enough money in getting someone younger if you really wanted to, or money that you could put into another deal like it's been reported with Lautaro Martinez. But there are other ways that Barcelona could benefit from this. For instance, one of the names being reported to kind of take over Barcelona's kind of new midfield is Donny van de Beek. And he's an Ajax, right? So if you get Luis Suarez and you offer to Ajax, for instance, let's have a straight swap between Suarez and Van de Beek, or perhaps Suarez plus 10 million euros for Van de Beek, you're finding yourself in a very good position for negotiation, something that Barcelona hasn't had in the longest of times. So by doing that and letting go of Suarez, we could see other names coming in. Simply by getting rid of his wages, of his wage bill, is going to be a huge benefit if we want to get somebody else to help us score those goals. In terms of disadvantages, there's one very big one that I'm afraid of, basically, and that is that Suarez knows a lot of the system that Barcelona currently plays. He knows the club's inside out and has built this sort of reputation in ingraining himself to the history of Los Culés. And that is something not easy to replace. When you get rid of these players, it's very hard because it affects you in a way mentally. And that is something that could see us be very kind of weakened for the next season. If you do not replace Suarez directly or good, all the consequences can fall into the manager, into the board once again. Let's say nobody's able to replicate his stats, and with this I move to the second disadvantage, that Suarez is simply someone that can guarantee you goals. Suarez can give you 20 goals a season, and not too many players can do that, and on top of that he can give you like 10 assists. You are talking about 30 goal contributions, and I don't know about you, but in the market right now, I don't see many players that can replicate that sort of output. Timo Werner has already went to Chelsea. Lautaro Martinez, I do not know currently if he's able to replicate those numbers, and maybe Erling Haaland, but he doesn't give you that many assists. So if you're getting to what I'm saying here, it's not easy to get rid of this, and it's a huge decision. It's not that simple when you can just go get rid of Suarez. If you get rid of Suarez, you need to have a name in there in the books already that you can say, at least let's give him some time and he's able to produce what Suarez is capable of. I already hinted to the weakness in our mentality when we let off Luis Suarez go, because of course it's going to be a huge impact. But someone who's going to be impacted even more is Lionel Messi. You're saying to me that footballers are in this glass capsule, but that's absolutely fake. Players in football, no matter how much money do they earn, they are normal human beings. And if I'm Luis Suarez, and I read all of this news and I'm heard they told me that Barcelona doesn't want me anymore, I'm going to be talking to Messi. He's my friend, we see each other kind of like twice or 3 times a week. I'm going to be talking about it. It's going to be kind of on the conversation. So of course he's going to be having some input. And if Messi is giving some input, he's going to be creating ideas of his own. And that is something that is true. Football is 50% up here. And if Messi is thinking about, oh wait, Luis Suarez is leaving, maybe I should leave too. That relationship with Messi is kind of linked with Suarez because that partnership has been forming for ages now, and it's not a secret that they're kind of like the best friends because they do basically everything together. So it's going to be a huge thing if Luis Suarez goes. Messi is going to be having to swallow it, or they're going to have to talk about it into a way that it actually materializes into something good. Because so far, Suarez is saying, well, they want me out, why don't you leave either? That's going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing. It's kind of sad to see, but it could potentially happen. So having said all of this, how do I believe Barcelona can remedy this situation? Well, I believe there's one simple solution, one solution that is good for all parties. And it may be difficult to achieve because of the wages that Luis Suarez has, but I believe the Uruguayan El Charrua should take a secondary role and become a super sub or a substitute forward. If Ronald Koeman can convince Luis Suarez of playing 40% of the minutes in Barcelona, we're guaranteeing that he can stay to teach for the next generation. So let's say Barcelona buys Lautaro gets 60% of the minutes or whatever forward comes in or whatever forward we already have in the squad, and Luis Suarez can teach him the ropes of that role as well. You know, he actually will become this sort of mastermind teacher. On top of that, we do not affect the relationship he has with Messi because Messi will still have him in the squad. They will still be friends. They will still take their kids to the same school. They will still go and do all of that, which is actually important to keep someone of him happy. I don't know whether you want to keep Messi happy or not, but you decide that. What's more, guys, is that I believe by having this role change, Suarez can potentially become better because of his age. And let me explain you why. The best match that I've seen of Luis Suarez this season has to be the game against Valencia, where he came in as a substitute and scored 2 goals in around kind of like 10 minutes. It is no secret that Luis is suffering from some very bad kind of knee injuries, and that is something that at his age of 33 is not a simple fix. He's gonna be continuing with that for years and years to come. So he actually needs to be as fit as possible for when the matches come. The main problem with Suarez is that he's not a bad player. It's not that he's just completely done with, but he finds it very hard to continue playing at the top of level very consistently. So if you have Suarez, for instance, and you drop him to a substitute role, he could potentially be fitter just for the when matches you actually need them. Let's say we're in a semi-final or something. First, let's get to it, right? But we actually need goals to win a game. Then we can bring on Luis Suarez from the bench, and he can help you get those goals because his finishing is not gonna be gone, his movement in the box is not gonna be gone, and he's gonna be running like hell for those kind of 20 minutes that you need him to. And by having him rested for that game, he's going to be potentially more efficient, kind of like what we saw with Cristiano Ronaldo in his latter stages at Real Madrid. The reason why Real Madrid were so effective in those crucial matches in the UCL for the triple win that they had was because Zidane convinced Ronaldo just to become kind of like a lesser role. You know, whenever you play a Mallorca side, you don't need your best players there, just play the youngsters, right? Play your squad players, and then for the big game against El Clásico, or you have Bayern Munich in the Champions League, you can just add that extra bit of spice in your forward. And for Barcelona, that could be Luis Suarez off the bench. So with all of that being said, guys, I would like to ask your opinions onto what do you believe Barcelona should do in this situation. If you let go of Luis Suarez, you're of course getting a lot of money in, you're potentially getting new players to have more time, but you're also conditioning yourself because you don't know kind of what you're going to be doing. Change is always scary, and I could be lying in saying that I'm scared too, but I would be kind of happy in letting Suarez take that lesser role, you know? We all have to just see how he's going to be developing the next few days, but if something is certain is that I believe Suarez shouldn't be starting anymore. And that is why his time is up right now. He cannot be a regular starter because he simply doesn't cut it. And Barcelona need fresher faces in the forward line, simply to be more effective and be more hardworking, be more efficient. Hopefully Koeman can see that and actually he can tell Suarez to his face, hey man, you cannot do it anymore, so help us, but in other ways. That's going to be everything for today, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Be sure to let me know in the comment box down below what do you think of this move, and more importantly, let me know what do you think should be Ronald Koeman's lineup at Barcelona. See you in the next one. Take care. Ciao.